Hey, what is up, mortals? Welcome to Season 1 Part 3 of What If Stain trained Deku. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the video. After getting into UA, besting Bakugo in battle training, and becoming class president, Midoriya and Class 1 went to the USJ for rescue training only to be interrupted by a portal of black smoke with a pale hand reaching through it. Following the hand was a face covered by a disembodied hand. Following the hand-masked face, the portal burst open with more and more villains flooding into the USJ. Aizawa was the first to react, instructing the kids to stay close together and not to move. After taking charge, he instructed 18 to keep the class safe and informed the students that they were villains. The one with the hands all over his body made their intention clear: to kill All Might. He immediately threatened the students in an attempt to bait him out, planning to take the villains on alone. Eraserhead started instructing the students. As he jumped into battle, Ida and Midoriya started instructing everyone out of the building, with Izuku getting distracted and looking back in amazement at Aizawa. Ada caught his attention again, telling him, "Focus, we have to evacuate. This is no time for analysis." But it was too late. A man seemingly made of dark mist appeared in front of them. He introduced the group as the League of Villains and reaffirmed what they were there to do. Bakugo, Kirishima, and Midoriya were the first to react, going on the offensive. Katsuki and Ijiro went with a frontal attack, using a right and left hook powered by their quirks respectively. Using this as a distraction, Midoriya charged up to 5% of One for All into his legs and ran behind them as if charging for a frontal attack just as his classmates were. As the two in front of him made contact, he jumped into the air, flipping over the mist man and threw two of his capture knives that were sheathed in his gloves. Both of them hit their target, a metal part that he suspected was connected to a physical body in some way. His suspicions were confirmed when the tips of the knives depressed and let loose their wires, wrapping around and then electrocuting the villain, stunning him. Using the opportunity, 13 instructed the duo that attacked from the front to get back and for Izuku to get out of the building to get help. Immediately, Midoriya gained some distance as the other two retreated, but the villain wasn't down for long. As soon as he got up, the Mist Man gave chase to Izuku. Seeing this, Katsuki and Ijiro went after him again, with Bakugo screaming at the villain. Fed up with the students, he turned around and enveloped the group in a shadowy mist, teleporting some of them away, including his pursuers. By the time he was done, Midoriya was already outside. He kept running for a while after he got out of the USJ, finding a secluded area before taking out his phone. All Might and Principal Nezu were discussing Toshinori's stubbornness and settling for tea when the pro hero's phone went off. After a quick apology, he checked who was calling, only to be perplexed by it being none other than his successor. He answered the phone, a bit of worry creeping upon him. "Young Midoriya, why are you calling? Did something happen?" On the other side of the phone, his slightly out-of-breath apprentice spoke. "A group calling themselves the League of Villains showed up in the USJ, saying they came to kill you. Aizawa and 13 are fighting them off right now, but I don't know how much longer they can keep fighting. You need to get here as soon as you can and bring backup. I got away with the help of everyone else in order to call for backup, but they're still in the building. They got in with a villain who can open portals using some sort of black mist." All Might solemnly said understood, before he hung up and bulked into One for All. He gave a couple-word summary to Nezu, telling him to gather other teachers for backup as he was heading out. Putting his phone back into one of his pouches, Izuku started heading back to the USJ. He felt he needed to do something, to help in some way, because the teachers and students were clearly outnumbered. And if the group was really strong enough to take down All Might, then they were outmatched as well. His suspicions were confirmed when he got back. 13 looked like she got a dose of her own quirk. The students were scattered. Aizawa was on the losing end of a battle, and the hand villain was approaching Tsuyu and Menata, who were in the water next to land. The mist villain and a hulking bird-faced villain with its brain showing were standing near Aizawa and the rest. Before we get back into the story, I would like to say that we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive is a channel based on a variety of anime lore. If you are interested in content like this, make sure you click the icon on the top right corner or check the description below for a link to the channel. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back into the story. One for All coursed through his legs. He ran at them faster than he had ever moved before. In this urgent situation, he was able to push himself to 8% of One for All. In what felt like an instant to him, he was on top of the hand cover villain, pushing his head into the ground with one hand, crouching on top of his back, and a hunting knife in the other hand pressed against the back of the villain's neck. The man dug his hands into the ground, starting to disintegrate where he touched. Shaking in anger, he said one word, "Namo," and it sounded like a command. Before Izuku could even attempt to figure out what it meant, he was sent flying into the water in front of him in one swift hit by the giant bird-headed villain. The hand man kept his attention on Midoriya, more and more anger and bitterness driving his actions. He hastily grabbed his face, only for nothing to happen. The man addressed Aizawa. "You really are pretty cool, Eraserhead." His quirk had been cancelled by the Erasure hero, who was barely standing. beaten to a bloody pulp and ready to collapse. When the dust settled from All Might's attack, they found him still holding onto the Namu, but it wasn't stuck in the ground. A portal opened up where All Might had been aiming, and the top half of the creature was underneath the symbol of peace, looking up at the man with its claws digging into his side and blood dripping from the hero's mouth. He got hit where his injury was and couldn't break free from the Namu's grasp. The group of villains planned on dragging All Might halfway through the portals and cutting him in half by closing them in on him. The arms started slowly but surely dragging him into the portals. As he got closer and closer to getting cut in half, Izuku told Tsuyu to take Aizawa to safety. When the dust settled from All Might's attack, they found him still holding onto the Namu, but it wasn't stuck in the ground. A portal opened up where All Might had been aiming, and the top half of the creature was underneath the symbol of peace, looking up at the man with its claws digging into his side and blood dripping from the hero's mouth. He got hit where his injury was and couldn't break free from the Namu's grasp. The group of villains planned on dragging All Might halfway through the portals and cutting him in half by closing them in on him. The arms started slowly but surely dragging him into the portals. As he got closer and closer to getting cut in half, Izuku told Tsuyu to take Aizawa to safety. He rushed towards the villains, sword in hand with one for all, powering his legs at 8%, only to be joined by a familiar, angry, explosive blonde shouting at it, "Get the hell out of my way, Deku." Bakugo hit the mist villain with an explosion and slammed him to the floor, taunting him. Shortly after, half of the Namu froze over, the culprit being the one and only Shoto Todoroki, who proceeded to say that the villains weren't capable of killing the symbol of peace. As all of this was happening, Izuku was fighting the hand villain. He used an aggressive combination of slashes and kicks to push the villain back. Every attack the villain dodged was retaliated against with swiping and grabbing that missed Izuku. Neither one was able to land a hit on the other until Kirishima hit the villain in the side using his quirk while he was dodging to the side of one of Midoriya's kicks. With the opening, the four students bought him. All Might was able to get out of the weakened Noma's grip. Bakugo threatened the mist man and mocked him, announcing that he knew the villain's weakness due to Deku's stupid knives. As he phrased it, the hand-covered villain commanded the Numo to deal with Bakugo. By the time he sent out the command, he was already pinned by Midoriya in a way that prevented him from using his quirk. Izuku lost focus when he heard the command and got thrown off of the hand villain. Pushing itself out of the portal, the Namu broke the frozen part of its body into nothing and quickly started regenerating its missing body parts. It rushed at Katsuki faster than any of the students could perceive, and just barely All Might was able to push the blonde out of the way. Right when it seemed like the battle was going to reach its climax, the rest of the teachers appeared and surrounded the villain. Snipe made their presence known by shooting down a villain that was keeping Kaminari hostage and shooting at the Namu. The mist man addressed the hand villain Tamura Shigaraki. "We have to leave." The hand villain, Shigaraki, was being perused again by Izuku and responded in haste. "Kurogiri, grab Namu and get us out of here now. It's game over, guess we gotta try another time." What was left of the League of Villain left, swearing to kill All Might the next time they meet. Shigaraki dropped under one of Izuku's punch and disappeared into a portal on the ground. After they left, the students and teacher regrouped, making sure everyone was accounted for and unharmed. The only injuries were Aizawa's arms being crushed and his eyes messed up, and 13 having lacerations on her back and left arm. The police took everyone's statements while All Might used the rest of his time to reassure the students and help keep everyone calm. Later, Detective Naomasa Tsukachi found and talked with Izuku and All Might about the incident at the school. That night, Midoriya sent a message to his former master, Stain, for the first time in a while. The two kept in touch, but they didn't exactly talk. They kept each other somewhat up to date with what was going on in their lives. Stain's messages were usually vague and served more as a way to tell Izuku that he was still alive. The last time he had messaged Stain had been when he got One for All. He told his former master that he had finally awakened his quirk and had been one of the few instances of an extremely late bloomer. It was one of the only times he got an immediate response back or a proper response at all. It was a simple congratulations, but it was more than enough to make Izuku happy. His message this time was a warning about the League of Villains and telling him that they attacked UA in an attempt to kill All Might. He got another proper response back from Stain this time, just a simple "got it." The next day of school, Eraserhead came into school completely recovered and ready to teach, shocking the entire class. After everyone settled down, he announced that the UA Sports Festival was coming up soon and that the top heroes would be scouting them out, and that they needed to proceed with the sports festival to show that a small villain attack couldn't shake up UA High School. In the next part, Izuku finds out Achako's reason for wanting to become a hero. All Might talks with him about the sports festival, and other students start scouting out Class 1 leading up to the festival. Once it starts, will Midoriya be able to make the debut he's aiming for? Or will he fall flat? Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now there is a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. On behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer for this video, as well as the editor for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out mortals, have an amazing day.